Firstly, I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you to all of you for your love, your support, your prayers. Today is day 14 of my mom, which, by the way, if you don't know her name, because some of you have asked me, what's your mom's name? Because we want to pray by name, we want to pray for her with her name. And her name is Margarita. If you don't know, my mom is Spanish. She's from Spain. She's the only one here from Spain. Okay, my dad brought her here to this country. So anyways, day 14. And it's a very slow process. Is she getting better? Yes, her labs are looking better, but she is very lethargic. She is very tired. Her kidneys are still not working. She's been on dialysis and she's still on respiratory support, but thank God she's not intubated anymore. She's just using the BiPAP at night and then high oxygen. Anyways, I don't want to get into that. I just want to say thank you so much for all of your support. And I wanted to come in and I don't have anything, planned, officially formal or anything today. It's been a really, really hard, tough time, as you can imagine. And sadly, family's making it even more challenging on me. But that's okay. And I still have my joy. Nobody can take that away from me. I heard someone told me it's kind of like through the grapevine that some people have judginess about how I can be still, have this joy, peace, happiness about me, even in spite of this very difficult time. And what I have to say about that is that's the old me that felt like that. I couldn't. I give myself permission to still be grateful and thankful and filled with joy. And how I look at that is this. Joy is an internal state that we control from the inside, and we can have joy. And I give myself permission to have joy and gratitude, even in the hard times. And happiness is something that we have based on external circumstances, right? You're unhappy that something didn't happen. You're happy that this happened. You're happy that you got this thing. Like, that's something external. But I'm still filled with joy and so thankful, and especially thankful for you and all of the women that I get to serve every single day inside of Rock That Fitness. And y'all are my family. So thanks, ladies. I get very emotional about that one. So thank y'all so much for being there. Thank you for your understanding. So today, what I decided to do, and how I coach is, when you have life crisis and life is getting lifey and it's tough, because we all have it, right? Then you don't just not do the thing. You just might need to adjust, pivot a little bit, if you will. And sometimes you just do the bare minimums, but you still show up. So this is me still showing up. But what I decided to do was to release myself of the pressure of creating a whole new episode today. And I'm pulling out a really good one that I did. It's about exactly a year ago that I had done this episode all about the cost. What is it called? It's called The Hidden Cost of Putting Your Health and Fitness in Last Place After 40. And this episode was one of the favorites. And so I thought, you know what? This is probably a great time to pull it out and let's replay it, because there's a few good nuggets in here for you. So I appreciate your understanding. Thank you for understanding that I'm doing a replay. Man, it's hard for me to do this, girl. You know it. I was like, I want to record an episode fresh. I love fresh. I love new with everything that I do. I'm not a fan of repeating stuff, except for my meals. Sometimes I do repeat meals, but even that I do something different and create, right? But today, this is what I decided to do. So I appreciate your understanding, and I really, this is what I'm doing. I know this is a really great episode. So, but in here at the end, I think I offer my 30-day strength challenge. So that is no longer a thing. Now I have a 14-day, my free 14-day starter strength training plan, where if you want to get this free strength training program, you will have access to the RTF app for free for 14 days and a great program to get started and check it out. And when you're in there, you'll have access to me. You can interact with me during that time while you're in there. So that's what's going to be in the show notes instead of the 30-day strength training program. And again, if you need anything from me, how I can help, let me know. Because even in the midst of the things that I'm going through, it is my joy to be here for you in any way that I can possibly be here to help you, whether you are one of my clients or whether you're not. You're just in the Rockstar world. Girl, I got you. Let me know what you need. All right, let's get into it. Enjoy this episode. Let's rock. Okay, do we need an update? Do we need an update? Maybe a small little update. I'm excited to say that the Jumpstart Challenge that turned into several women joining Rock That Fitness and now going through our first 6 weeks of our group coaching program called Kickstart Challenge is going so fantastically well. And I'm so pleased about this. Jumpstart 2 was better than Jumpstart 1. And I'm looking forward to the next Jumpstart Challenge and to see what's going to happen next. If you want to get on that priority list, just go to the show notes and get on there for the next one. As far as like personal things, there are some things going on. I think the thing I want to say is that sometimes life can be really, really hard, especially when it has to do with family relationships, misunderstandings or disagreements about how life should go and who should do what and when. And I'm kind of sort of going through something like that now, but it's not something I can really share. I could share, but I'm being very respectful and I'm not. All that to say, even though we have tough times like this, girl, we have to make the wise decision to continue to take care of ourselves. I say this because in the past, I have a history of not taking care of myself when life is stressful, when I'm having a really bad relationship problem with somebody. I would tend to do self-destructive things, overeat, turn to alcohol, things that were comforting to me at the time, seeking that comfort. And I'm no longer doing that. Thank God. Thank you, Anna, for taking full responsibility for all parts and aspects of my life. And a lot of that has to do with becoming more and more aware of my emotions and my feelings and mastering those things. So, I mean, I'm no better than you. I'm just saying, like, I get it. And I'm going through a tough time. And so I don't need any pity. I don't ask for it. All I'm saying is that, girl, we can do hard things. And not only that, one of the things I was talking to one of our clients about is how we can have a tendency to want to rebel in a way that is not healthy and serving our body. And that used to be me. But now I say, hey, girl, let's rebel in the opposite. Let's say, no, I'm not going to let these circumstances, these things in my life stop me from making wise choices, healthy choices for my body and my mind. It's a whole like opposite type of rebellion. We're not going to do what most people do. We're not doing what most women do. We are not most women. We are advocating for ourselves. We take good care of ourselves. We take actions to care for our body and our mind. And we don't fall into this trap of doing these things that are self-destructive. Yes, I do have my notes for this topic today, but I'm just feeling really a little passionate about this. Basically, there are things going on. And isn't there always something going on? Which is why we have to be so aware of what is going on in our mind and how we are coping, managing, adjusting, all of those kind of things so that we can do the best thing for our health and our fitness. And so today, I want to talk about a lot of things that we deal with as women over 40 and that keep us stuck, that keep us actually sometimes in a fog, or like we don't even know. We're like just living life and we're doing all these things. We've got the weight of the world on our shoulders. We've got work, family, all of the responsibilities. And it feels like we have no time for ourselves to take care of ourselves, and we end up last. Imagine this was me. I'm going to share. This is the paint the picture for most of us women over 40 when we're not aware of what's going on and we haven't taken our power back. It looks like this. We're gaining weight. Our energy is dropping. We're juggling our career, the demands of the family, and responsibilities. And somehow our health always comes last. Well, you're not alone. I'm not alone, because most women over 40 are dealing with this. And it's not because we're weak, and it's not because we're unmotivated. I mean, think about it. Look and think about all the things you have done and all the things you do every single day. You cannot tell me that you're lazy and unmotivated, obviously. But this is what happens. And this is a wake-up call to you if you feel this way. This is why I'm telling you about what happened to me in 2017, because it was a wake-up call. And I really, really hope that you don't have to get to that point where you're worried about life or death because of your health. Sometimes that happens. A lot of times, sadly, that happens. And that's where I was at. But I hope and pray that's not you. But this is the wake-up call, because the cost of continuing down this road is far greater than the cost of change. And here's the thing. We don't really think about this. We think about the pain of change. And let me rephrase this. We think about the discomfort of change, because we think how uncomfortable. We imagine all the things like, oh, I have to get up early. I've got to do all these preparations and plan, and I've got to do my workouts, and I've got to do all of these things, listing out all the things you feel like you need to do to take care of your health. And it seems like it's this big, overwhelming mountain, and it seems so painful. That's the pain we avoid. But in avoiding that, that's what I want to talk about today. What's it costing us by avoiding the pain of change today? So I have some things. And why do I want to talk about this today? Because I was inspired by one of my mindset coaches, Brad Bizjack, and he talks about this. And so I was inspired by his talk that he calls the pyramid of lasting change. Now, I'm not going to talk about that today necessarily, but I am going to talk about values and priorities, because that's the thing. Like, that is the motivating factor of why we do what we do when we do it. But his thing, just because this is what inspired me, I want to share with you. He has this thing that he calls the pyramid of lasting change, where at the bottom of the pyramid is environment and result. And maybe just put this in your mind, like picture your mind's eye. Picture this in your mind, this pyramid, okay? And at the bottom of the pyramid is environment and results. It's kind of like a cause and effect, things that are going on, the environment where you're at all the time. And then above that is behaviors and habits. This is our behaviors and habits. And then above that, capabilities and getting better at skills. And then above that is beliefs and values and identity. Those things, beliefs and values and the identity on that pyramid, are the strongest. They're the strongest force in what we do every single day. I'm not going to get into that, but one day I hope I can teach on this, because it's wonderful and it's life-changing. And one of the things he likes to say, which I love, and it's also something that Tony Robbins talks a lot about, is this force. The strongest force, here's exactly, I'll quote it. The strongest force in the human personality is the need to stay consistent with who you already think you are. And this would be at the top of that pyramid of lasting change. The identity piece. And I know I've spoken about this in the past, but this is just something that needs to be repeated over and over and over, because isn't it true? If you believe something about who you are, that is the reason that you're doing the things you do every single day. All the things you do, when you do them, why you do them. It's because of who you believe you are. And that truly is the strongest force, which is why it's so important to work on ourselves, our personal development, our personal growth, to not have a fixed mindset, to be open to change, to be coachable, to think about new ideas and implement new things, try new things. That's why it's so important to do that. And having this idea, because if you don't, then you are closed-minded and you have a fixed mindset. And people who do that, they tend to stay stuck in whatever rut they are. They tend to complain and blame, and they never take full responsibility. And I don't know about you, girl, but I don't think that's me and you. I think we're open to change. And so let's talk about the values that I want to talk about. This I'm going to go into what's really happening with us in our body right now over the age of 40. I want to talk about why we do these things. And then I'm going to talk about the cost, like I said, the cost of staying here, because I'm sure you've heard that, right? There comes a time, and I know I experienced this myself during my fat loss journey, where I remember this quote, and I don't even know, who said it. I think it's just a common quote. I'm sure you've heard that the pain of staying the same is stronger than the pain of change. That's when the change is going to happen. That's when the change is going to happen, because we really are motivated by pain a lot of times, with some exceptions. Okay, so let's talk about what's really happening here. Okay. We don't intentionally neglect ourselves. It's just something that we do. Self-neglect happens as a habit. We place everything and everyone else at the top of our list. And so as a result, then our health and our fitness is being sacrificed. And if this is the case, like me at the time, you're gaining weight slowly over time. You're feeling heavier, fatigued, and out of control and self-defeated. Let's feel that. We're feeling resentful because everything is taking up demanding our time. And then we feel invisible and we feel disconnected from our own body. And not only that, we're feeling like we're aging faster than we should be. And if we are not putting the right foods in our body and we're not taking care of our body, we really are aging faster than was intended for our body. So think about this for a second. If you can think about the history in your life, this is an interesting question. When did being last on your list become your norm? Because maybe it's always been an issue, right? I don't know. You can answer that. I know for me, being last on my list was going on for decades, probably most of my life, if I'm honest about it, because all I wanted to do was please. And if you're in that camp of women that wants to please and fears rejection, then I know you understand this. Let's talk about why we do this. Why we do this is first of all, we're just unaware. It's not intentional. Like I said, you're not lazy. You're not unmotivated. This really comes down to awareness. But let's talk about values and priorities, because that's really the core of what's happening on the inside. It's like the invisible driver of why we do what we do when we do it. Values and priorities. So what is the difference? I was asking this of myself the other day, because obviously we have values and we have priorities, but really what's the difference? And side note, the other reason I kind of looked into this, because I was thinking about values and how they do change over time, by the way. It's not always the same. And it's good to evaluate our values from time to time. But I'm kind of flashing back, and sometimes Country Boy will say something to me because I will forget something. And I don't know about you. Maybe you're going to be able to, maybe you can relate, maybe not. But he'll say something which I'm not usually offended, but I feel a little offended by this when he says, well, you didn't remember because it wasn't important to you. Oh my gosh, that's tough. That's some tough love, I guess. I don't know. And then I'm like, that's not true. That's not true. It's very important. You're important to me. What you need and what you are expecting of me is important to me. So no, that's not true. But we kind of have a joke about this, but we kind of joke about it. Okay. It's not like, but we're kind of joking about it. But the thing is, it has really caused me to ask myself, is that true? Is it true that it's not important to me? And that's why I forgot. And it goes even deeper than that. And that's about values and priorities. So I want to talk about this, just a little real quick definition. Values is what you say matters to you the most, like your family, your health, your job, your career, your purpose in life. These are your values. Priorities are what actually put time and energy, what you actually put time and energy into. What, like, in what order you put the time and energy into your towards everything in your day. Like, what is that? Like, what you actually put time and energy towards every day. That's your priorities. So there is a disconnect. There's a disconnect because you say you value your health. Think about this. A lot of women say they value their health, but their daily life doesn't necessarily reflect it. So if we're honest with ourselves, and I'm thinking back to my past, I could say health was important to me, but if you saw how I was living throughout my day, day to day, it was not a reflection of my value for health. So this leads me to want to talk about the value ladder theory. In theory, we visualize a ladder where each rung represents a value that you're acting on. For many of us women over 40, the top rungs on the ladder are things like your family, your career, maybe volunteering, community obligations, these kind of things. And then at the bottom of the rungs are your health, your sleep, your nutrition, exercise. These are at the bottom. But here's the truth. This is the truth bomb that we typically don't want to face until sometimes it's too late. You think you're sacrificing your health for your family. You think you're sacrificing your health and your fitness but actually you're risking your ability to be there for them, right? But not I'm going to say something here that I want to just kind of clarify this one thing, because this is a thing that goes around where people say, I got to take care of myself. I'm going to go to the gym, take care of my health and fitness, because that way I can better serve and take care of everybody. And I am not a fan of that thinking. And here's why. Because you and I, girl, we got to take care of our health and fitness simply for the fact that we deserve to take care of our health and our fitness for ourselves. That everybody else is going to benefit. That's just a given. That's going to be the byproduct of it. But we don't need to be thinking that we need to get healthy and fitness for everybody else so we can do better. It's just going to be a byproduct. It's just going to happen naturally when you take the steps to do it. So, but think about this. If you are neglecting and sacrificing your health and your fitness because you think you need to put everybody else first, your family first, all of these obligations for your family first, the reality is that we're actually not going to be there for them when they need us because we are declining. Our body and our health is declining. So we need to reframe this, right? Because we want to move our health this is one thing. We don't want to be like doing this all, I don't think you need to be overwhelmed to changing everything all at once, but we do need to think about moving our health and our fitness up on the ladder a couple of rungs on there, a little higher on there to transform this area of our life. And this is going to help us, right? Of course, to show up for others. And here's it's kind of funny that I took action for my own health and fitness when I did. I was afraid for my life. And yes, you can say, yeah, but you were thinking about your family, but I was, because I want to be there. I wanted to be there when my kids graduated high school or graduated college or got married, had their own kids. I want to be here and I want them to have me. And I knew that they needed me even at that time because they were still in school at home. But yeah, I wanted to be there for them long term, and not just, there's a difference, right, between longevity, living a long life, but living a long, healthy, strong, active life so you can actually be a part and take part in all of these aspects of life with our family. And now I'm going to get into the scary truth that we a lot of times don't want to think about. But these are things that we really, really need to think about. I think about this all the time, not all the time, but I am thinking about these things. When I'm at the gym, don't think for 1 second I'm not thinking about. Yes, I'm thinking about feeling good, looking good in my body, girl. Yes, I am. But I'm also, a lot of times, I'm very mindful and thinking to myself as I'm aging, what am I going to be like at 60? How am I going to be like at 65, at 70? What am I going to be like when I'm 80, when I'm 85? If I get to live this long, right? I'm thinking about that person in the future and how right now the investment I'm making with my health is impacting that person I'm becoming, the woman that I'm aging into. It's the hard truth. And so there is a cost involved right now of staying the same if we don't change. If we're continually putting our career, our family, everything and everybody, all of these responsibilities of the entire world on our shoulders, and we continue to carry all of this and neglect our health and our fitness, there is a huge cost to pay. And I'm not trying to be mean. I'm going to be the meanie today, but really this is my coachy pep talk to show you how important it is and the cost of staying here in this place, carrying the weight of the world, dragging all this luggage, all the monkeys on our back that we don't need to have all these monkeys on our back. And let's talk about the cost. Okay. These are the hard facts that nobody wants to look at or think about. It's just like, I don't want, la, 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 la. That's not happening. If we can just not look at it and pay attention, it's not happening, but that's not true. It's happening. This is a wake up call. I just want to say that some of the stats that I'm going to share with you, just a few things. This comes from CDC, Center for Disease Control and PubMed. You can go do this research on your own, and I highly recommend that you do. But basically, the current health trends for women over 40 right now, 80% of women over 40 are not getting enough movement, not getting enough exercise. I mean, I'm just imagining, I spent many hours at my desk right here today working. So many women are spending hours and hours at a desk as well. So 80% aren't getting enough exercise and movement. 42% of women over 40 are clinically obese. And then remember, our muscle mass is declining 3 to 8% every decade. And this accelerates after the age of 50. 1 in 3 will suffer fractures from osteoporosis. And thank God I didn't suffer a fracture. You know what? I do attribute when I had that bike crash and I didn't break a bone. Yes, I had a separation here, a little minor separation in my shoulder, but I didn't break a bone. I'm 54. I feel very proud. And I know that I can attribute that to the consistent care and investment and effort and work in my health and fitness since the day I started turning things around when I was 46 in 2017. Strength training, 3 days a week on a structured plan, all these years, that has kept me strong. I just had to say, like, thank you, Anna, for taking care of your body. I am no better than anybody else. It's here for you. It's here for all of us. We got to keep going. Type 2 diabetes is rising fastest in midlife. So this is the time we really, if any time, got to be paying attention to these kind of things. The leading cause of death for women, 45 to 64. Number 1, heart disease. I know I've talked about this before. It is the number 1 killer. Number 2, cancer. All types of cancer, not just breast cancer. Stroke. Number 4, diabetes. And then number 5, respiratory diseases. And sadly, most of these are preventable or they can be delayed throughout life. And here's something that I'm often, reminding is that, these diseases, they didn't happen all of a sudden. It's interesting how people will get a diagnosis of something and they're just shocked. Like, I can't believe this, between the ages of 45 and 64, having a diagnosis. This this didn't just, and as a nurse, I used to see this in the hospital all the time. The disease doesn't just happen suddenly. It's something happening in your body that has developed over time, most of the time based on lifestyle, not on genetics. Yes, there's genetics involved. I'll give you that. But so many of these things are preventable with lifestyle. I probably don't even need to tell you that, girl. You're smart. Nursing home stats. Do we want to go there? 70% of residents are women. 70%. I don't know what that's saying. Does that, maybe it's saying that men don't live as long as women. That could be part of the stats, right? Stats can be skewed. We do need to take into account the different things that stats, how they come up with them, right? But I just found that interesting. And most enter the nursing home between the ages of 75 and 80 due to preventable decline. So let's do our squats and have strong legs, ladies. We don't want to be, having trouble walking around. Loss of independence. They end up in there for loss of independence, energy, and vitality. So we're not just gaining weight, right? We're losing energy, and then we're losing function, which we lose freedom and quality of life. So woo, heavy stuff. But there is hope, and there always is, and it's never too late to do something to make a change, and we can reclaim our power over our health and our fitness. And that's what I want to talk about next, is to reclaim your power, to make the shift. And it doesn't have to be drastic overnight. I'm going to start going to the gym and I'm going to start eating healthy. This all or nothing, that all or nothing never, ever works anyway. So let's keep it real. If you want to make a real change in your lifestyle, health, and your fitness, just do one thing. Let's keep it simple. Just start making one little change. I know that it can feel like, how can I get to that point? And if you've been following me and you see me and maybe, your life is really hectic and you are busy and you haven't quite made your health and your fitness a priority. Maybe you've dabbled, maybe you've tried and you feel like you keep on falling off the wagon. Then let's just work on one thing, girl. If you're feeling like, I just don't have the time, Anna, you don't understand, but I do understand. Now, I don't understand your particular situation, and everybody has one, but I do see and know for a fact that there is a solution to every problem. I really, truly know and believe that. And I see it. I see it in our ladies inside of Rock That Fitness. We've got women in here. They're caretakers, whether it's a caretaker of a child for life or a caretaker of a parent. And we've got aging parents and ailing parents that are sick, a spouse, taking care of a spouse, whatever the situation. But yet I have seen time and time again, women that with huge burdens, things going on that have no control over, and yet still make their health and their fitness a priority in some way, shape, or form, because they deserve it and you deserve it, and there's always a solution. So but here's the thing, if your schedule is jam-packed with all of the responsibilities, and I was talking to a client was it this morning? It was just this morning. I think it was this morning, the other morning. And we were talking about this, like, you can take a monkey off your back, right? Something off your schedule, so that you can free up some space for your thoughts, for living, to think, and to get things in order. But remember not to put another monkey on your back. I think we are so programmed that we have to be doing and doing everything, and our schedule has to be jam-packed, and every minute of the day has to be scheduled, that when we take something off, we automatically put it back on our schedule, just because it's like this. It's our values and our priorities and beliefs and stuff like that we think we've been programmed so long that we think we have to fill up our schedule, that when we do open up space, then we tend to fill it up again. But I kind of digress. You have a jam-packed schedule, but you also have a lot of control over what you say yes to and no to. And even though it can feel like, I don't know how I'm going to fit in health and fitness, what needs to change? Because nothing changes if nothing changes. And I know you've heard this, but maybe it'll just hit differently today. Your health and your fitness matter. And the cost, what we just talked about, is great, right? Sometimes we think like, yeah, but I'm going to have to do this or I'm going to do that. But what is the cost of not doing that? That's the part. That's the part. That's what I'm thinking every single day that I take care of myself. The cost of not eating healthy, of not getting plenty of optimal sleep, rest, hydration, um, enjoying some things in life, having fun. All of these things are important to have. And if all we're doing is being stressed to the max, doing all these things, working hard for the family, doing all these things, career, and we're not taking care of our body and our health, we are slowly declining day after day. It's not going to get any better. Right now, it's the best it's going to be. Unless you start making a change, it'll be even better. So I want to encourage you, what is something that you can do? Now, I know you can join Rock That Fitness. You can get a program and start doing some workouts. You can join a class. You can start tracking your food. That's a great place to start. You can start tracking your calories and your food and start learning about nutrition and your body, because too many women are blaming hormones. Now, yes, our hormonal shifts are having an impact, but what about your food and what you're putting in your body? And what about rest and sleep and hydration and stress management and moving your body and getting exercise? All of these things, like, that's the problem. That's the bigger problem, right? I know HRT is great. It can help us in a lot of ways, but think about, sky's the limit with your health and fitness. You can make so much progress with all these other things. You don't have to, like I said, you don't have to flip your life upside down. I just want to encourage you to just start becoming aware of your actions and ask yourself on that ladder of values, what are these actions supporting? Are they in alignment with my values? Are the things that I am prioritizing in alignment with my values? And this is, I do this every single day. I'm asking the same thing every day. And then priorities are like, what needs to happen first? It's kind of like every single day myself, I'm a business owner, so I've got a lot going on day to day, a lot of things that have to happen. And I have to ask myself, how is this stuff going to go in order today? And it's going to be in order of priority. And so depending on what's happening that day, but you can count on me getting my nutrition in. Yes, most of the time. It's not perfect, but most of the time I'm eating healthy, right? Lean protein, vegetables, fruits, whole grains. I'm eating in a way that makes my body feel great, supports my health and my fitness and my physique. That is a priority for me. It's high value. That's why I make sure that I get it done. I eat that way all day long. Now my health and fitness is a priority, and I'm going to get that done typically sometime in the morning, because as the day gets on, I'm exhausted, I'm losing energy and all that kind of stuff. And I personally don't like working out in the afternoon or evening. It's just not fresh. It's icky. It's like it's getting my leftovers. And that's my value. I value my fitness and I want to bring the energy to that. And what's ironic, not so funny, what's true, is when we do that stuff first thing in the morning, it brings us even more energy throughout the day. So what we think is taking up time and energy is actually giving us time and energy, because we're not so exhausted and tired at the end of the day. We actually have more energy. Begin with one change. Think about what is one thing that you can do, just one. And yes, it's like a habit. Like you want to start doing that one thing on a regular basis until it sticks so it can become a habit. But that's how habits are built. They're not built with a bunch of habits all at once. We have to build them one at a time. So just trust the process, trust and know that as you are working on that one thing, it's really the best thing you can do, rather than trying to do everything all at once, which we like to try to do all those things. But what is it for you? Is it maybe every morning you're going to make sure that you start your day with a healthy breakfast? Is it that you're going to start walking just 5 minutes in the morning before you start your day? Like, what's one thing you can do for yourself just to get that value ladder, get that health and fitness up higher on that rung of that ladder? One workout. Maybe you decide I'm going to start doing, one workout, two workouts a week or something. Um, if you need to start a strength training program, if you want to start the 30-day strength challenge I have, you can grab that. I'll have that in the show notes, Chrissy. You can put that in there for us. But keep on climbing that ladder and putting your values, putting your actions to what you really, really value. And the wonderful, beautiful thing, right? And we know this, we don't always act on it. But the thing is, when we do what we know is best, doesn't it always work out best? When we don't do what we know is best, doesn't it always work out not so good? Like it's the law. It's the law of the universe. And taking care of your health and your fitness, girl, is not selfish. It is the most unselfish thing you can ever do. Being unselfish by taking care of yourself. That's the sustainable strength. So your power hasn't left you. Okay. You are not defeated. You've just stopped reaching for your power. So take your power back. Take your power back. So think about this, think about some of these things. What are the values? What are your values? I know you're valuing your family. I know you're valuing your career and whatever other obligations you have, volunteer obligations, or whatever those things are, which is great, is great. But think about how not valuing your health and your fitness on a consistent basis, right? Because one salad we know is not going to do a whole lot of good when most of the time we're eating like crap. But think about how putting your health and your fitness up higher on that ladder, how that's going to help you show up in all these other areas of your life in a more powerful way. And not only that, ladies, if you have kids still at home, they're watching you. They're watching us. And we want to set an example for them to follow. And just think, if they're seeing us put everything and everybody else before our health and our own fitness, what are we teaching them? Just something to think about. Of course, I'm not asking you to think about anything that I haven't thought about myself. So where is your health and your fitness on the ladder? Where is it for you? I just want to encourage you to take a moment today and think about one small action you can take towards showing yourself this respect and love for your health and your body. And yeah, put yourself back on that ladder, girl. All right, girl. I hope you got something out of this episode. I think that these are the kind of things that I feel like are like, they're my favorite things to talk about, because I know what it's like to be busy, taking on all of the responsibilities of the whole wide world. But we don't have to. We have to take our power back. We have choices, and we need to do what's best. And let's be the example. Let's not be most women. Most women are being run down all day long by all the things. And then they're like victims. Poor me. Look at everything I have to do. But we've got choices. That's like saying, I'm so powerless, but you're not. Okay. Take your power back, girl. All right. I love you so much. Thank you so much for listening in once again. If you want to get on my Rockstar Fit Chick Weekly, check out the link inside of my show notes. That's where I send a weekly email of encouragement, education, updates, and anything going on. You'll want to get on that. And that is in the show notes. So that's it, girl. I love you so much. Don't forget self-care, self-love all day, every day, in all the ways. Do I have your word? Good. Rock on.